Hello, and here is your energy forecast from the 20th of February moving into it's very hard to put a timeline on these things. I just get downloads now and then and share them with you, but I'm feeling like this will probably carry us into the end of February and into probably the first week or two of March, roughly speaking, okay? It'll be individual, obviously, for everybody. We're all our own channel interpreting vibrations and energies on a basis of where we are on our spiritual journey. One thing I can report is that, and you may be feeling this already, is there is an incredible intensity of emotion. And I talked about this in my last video. You know, we're going into Pisces, the Piscean energy, and the Pisces is the two fish. And the two fish are swimming in opposite directions. So you may be feeling like there's a conflict within you. There's something within you that you are trying to contain, that you're trying to control. And, you know, perhaps there's a desire that you're doing your best not to give in to. Maybe it's an addiction or an obsession or a relationship that you're trying not to give energy to, a friendship, that kind of thing. But that's the Piscean influence at the moment, of vacillating between one or the other, stepping in between. One way you're this way, one time you're this way, next minute you're that way. So, you know, that can be exhausting, especially on the emotional body. So just to be aware of that right now. So with this intensity, there's also a building up of pressure. You're going to see, especially over the next week, today is the 19th, you're going to feel that there's this building up of pressure with these pulls and tugs of our energy. And there may be this childish response to that. The part of you might just want to give in to the addiction or give in to the obsession and to run crazily towards doing something that may not be for your highest good. So there's a lot of impulsive vibrations right now. There's a big, strong sense of allowing our impulses that free reign, that freedom. Please be aware if you're somebody who is suffering with addiction or battling something that you're trying to balance out in your life, that you temper these energies and that your highest self, your higher consciousness remains in the driving seat of your life, and that you don't let your ego pull you out of the driving seat and throw you in the back, because there is an impulsiveness in the air at this time, especially as we move towards the end of February. Be mindful, be careful. How do you do that? You stay tuned in, you stay plugged into yourself. You check in with yourself, you see how you're feeling, and you bring an awareness and an observation to those feelings and to those impulses. Mind yourself at this time. This high emotional timeline it's very seductive. There might be a part of you that just wants to fly off on a wild goose chase fantasy ride, but you need to think of the bigger picture, and you need to remind yourself of the consequences of entertaining that fantasy. Because what we fail to remember and understand is, at times, like, we need to tell the inner child that the fantasy of it usually doesn't match the real world energy of it. So please be aware of that. I just wrote down some quick points as I was taking this download. So yeah, there's that building up, as I said, of emotions, and there's going to be a need to release. So make sure that you allow yourself privacy and some solitude time so that you can release and that you can mind yourself and look after doing the self-care steps, meditation, breath work, stretching, being out in nature. Nature's great for absorbing these high, intense emotional periods. You can actually meditate upon a tree and you can transfer any heavy, you can ask the tree to help you to transfer any dense vibrations in your energy field. And nature is happy to do that because trees and other natural elements have a built-in ability to take your negative energy and diffuse it into the earth, into a neutral frequency. So don't feel like you're being bad on the tree. You can always ask permission and you can give thanks to the tree. You'll feel it if the tree is willing to help you in this regard. Now, physical health issues. Anything that needs addressing, you're going to feel that build up towards it. You're going to feel the intensity of, I can't put this off any longer. You know, perhaps you need to go to see your healer, your shaman, your therapist, your doctor, your hospital, whatever modality of health and well-being you choose. You're going to feel an incredible pull towards making that appointment and looking after the practical sides of self-care and health as well. So if you've been putting off going to your dentist, this is a great time to book that appointment and to take care of those issues. There is a lot of practicalities coming up as we move into the end of February into March. So there's a focus on the more earthly aspects of your life. So things that need tending to. Perhaps it's your taxes, perhaps it's you need to call that social worker, you need to find a new place to live and you've been putting off doing viewings. These kind of practical issues, this is a really good time for you to actually go and do the action, do the groundwork, knock on the doors, fill out the paperwork, that kind of earthly stuff that is a part of life and that we need to take care of. Just thinking what else. Yeah, there's a sense of responsibility that's really strong as we move into the end of February. And I ask you to keep that sense of responsibility neutral. Yes, we all have an ability, and there are times when it's necessary for us to respond in a mature way to life. And this ties in with the fantasy element, you know, with that emotional Piscean emotional energy, we can be pulled into fanciful, fantastical thinking that could inspire our inner brat or our childlikeness or childishness, depending on how much inner work you've done, to want to react and to want to respond. Okay, if this doesn't make sense right now, it will make sense over the next few weeks. Just stay in the present, gracious present moment, because when we're present, when this event occurs or when somebody is trying to seduce us into that fantasy moment that actually will probably have more negative impact down the road, when we actually look back and go, why did I respond that way? Why did I give into my inner brat to, you know, say that to that person? Or why did I take those actions that now have left me with this responsibility that's just, you know, too overwhelming for me to cope with right now? Why did I add that layer of stress into my life, basically, when I didn't need to? When we're present, we literally halt that kind of stuff from happening, because we're so in a higher conscious perspective of the moment. We can see that, whoa, this, if I go down this path, this is where it's heading, and I don't see any benefit for my evolution and my happiness if I continue forward in this direction. So you have those choices. You have that ability to respond in a very mature, loving and self-loving way. So when I say responsibility, that's what I'm saying. The ability to respond in a conscious way that benefits you and others. Please keep that in mind. That's really important. the symptoms of Ascension, the energies should be tapering off by now. Things are stabilizing from that regard. We had more of a physical focus in the last while, but now the energies are moving more into the emotional body. So we had a lot of physical body stuff go on in the last few weeks. That's shifting into another layer, into the emotional body. And as I said, just tuning into these emotions, allowing yourself to feel them and express them, but in a safe, private place for yourself, and also knowing when it's appropriate and when it's the right moment to express and share with others. Having that discretion, having that discernment, knowing who you can trust, and also trusting and allowing yourself to fully experience these emotions. Please do not suppress these emotions. Your emotional body is being activated with good reason for your learning, your growth, and for your life to expand so that you can access the new wonderful energies as we move further through 2020. Thanks so much for liking my videos. Thank you for being here. And I wish you wonderful, bright, yellow spring blessings.